welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Syllabus. I want to apologize for such the long break, but with summer and everything else going on, I've been off. I want to say, hey, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully we'll be getting them out every single week, but you know how life
And that you have failed as a teacher.
Again.
Just name one. If you're like me, you've got a bunch. Yes, every day. But give me one good failure you had.
Mine was this trimester recently. I've got my 6th hour is super solid. So we're really picky about who our teachers' aides are, just because we need good kids to be able to go and help in the class and to go set up fields and stuff.
Yeah, because they get a lot of time on their own getting stuff ready for you guys, which makes sense. I've seen them out there. So
I've got collectively in this one class about 10 former teacher aides between me and the other PE teacher, between the two of us. And so I'm thinking this class is going to be easy. Like I've got all these TAs, they're going to be awesome. So I took gave them the same beginning of the year approach, whatever. And then after the second or third week, I was like, they started kind of inching a little bit more, oh, we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to do this. And I kind of waved it off. I was like, oh, these are my really good kids. At the end of the day, a 14-year-old's a 14-year-old. I lost the class. I lost them. I could not get them to do their stretches. I could not get them to do their workout. Every time I'd ask them to go out and do something, the opposite would happen. So I got too comfortable. And I had to go back and damage control. Just like we had to have a sit down, come to Jesus talk, hey, you guys need to be my really good class. And that's not happening. And that's my fault. But I need your guys' help to kind of bring it back in.
Gotcha. So, new teacher comes in and they say they're losing their class. What do you tell them? Or they're afraid, hey, I think I might be losing my class. What would you tell them? Is there a way to stop it from the beginning? But then again, if it's too late, how would they fix it? What are your 2 pieces of advice there?
It is never too late to establish expectations or to...
Buzzword expectations.
Or to clarify expectations. They know what's expected at that point. At that point, they all should have known, but it just took a little reminder. That and just having it clear.
So even though you have a good class, you're saying you still got to make expectations at the very beginning?
Yeah, and I did that, but then I got relaxed.
What do you think other teachers should do when they fail in the classroom? Because it's going to happen. I mean, my failures might look different than yours, but as this teacher fails, how should they respond and react?
Take it as a learning experience. I mean, we're all going to fail. Any profession has days of failure. Whether you work in sales or in a school or a lawyer, whatever, you're going to have failures. But that's all part of our growth and learning cycle.
Growth mindset, learning cycle, more buzzwords. Look at this.
Yep. And so you just continue to learn from those and try new things, because if you're not trying new things, you're not adapting and becoming better, and it takes failures to find those really good, what's the word, the diamonds in the rough that you can run with, and
kind of those big wins that keep coming you back some days.
Yep.
The one good golf shot you hit out of all 18 that happens to be on 17 or 18, you're like, this game's easy.
Great.
Or
on
hole 1, you have a 15 over. You're like, oh, that water just crushed me for those 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
Especially if you go to East Bay. You're from, I was going to say, you go down there, you probably haven't played at that one. All right, so, Nick, you do a lot with behaviors at lunch. You run what we have, the SOAR Academy, where it's almost like you're being sent to the principal's office, but they have to do some other things on there. So you're always doing this. So how do you deal with a tough student first in your class? So if there's a tough student in your class, what do you do for that student? Because I can guess in my class and your class, it'd look way different. Or maybe he's perfect and has never had a tough student. No. But I don't think that's true by how he seems.
The very first thing, once I realize that there's a problem or that we're going to have a problem, a lot of the time, right, where I do our lunchtime behavior, SOAR Academy as we call it, I know these problem kids before I even get them into my class. And so... usually I can pull them early and just say, hey, you know what, this is a fresh start. I know, I like you, and I want you to have success, and these are your building blocks for success in this class. A lot of my class is based on behavior, doing what you should be doing at the right time, giving your full effort. My kids that I get in the most trouble in my class are the ones who aren't participating because they're not on task. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, I was like, oh no. So, let me get back in. Sorry, computer froze for a minute. So the ones that get in trouble are just off task, just kind of chilling, hanging out.
Yeah, and so if I just clarify what's expected of them and kind of tell them specifically, hey, this is what this looks like. If you're going to finish with an A in my class, like this is what I need to see. If you're going to stay out of SOAR Academy in my class, this is what I need to see. And I make that super clear. And I still have behavior problems, but nothing that's ever escalated.
Nothing where you're calling admin down, screaming, yelling. All right, now. No. So, let me get back in. Sorry, computer froze for a minute. So the ones that get in trouble are just off task, just kind of chilling, hanging out.
Yeah, and so if I just clarify what's expected of them and kind of tell them specifically, hey, this is what this looks like. If you're going to finish with an A in my class, like this is what I need to see. If you're going to stay out of SOAR Academy in my class, this is what I need to see. And I make that super clear. And I still have behavior problems, but nothing that's ever escalated.
Nothing where you're calling admin down, screaming, yelling. All right, now. So with picture, that one you kind of answered, but picture a time where you've had a student get sent to SOAR Academy that they've been really tough, or I should say, teachers kind of over the student. What conversation do you have with that student to try to get them back in the game for that class?
We clarify a lot in that SOAR Academy that it's, it is a little bit of a punishment. You lose your lunchtime, but it's an opportunity to learn. And that's how we pitch it to parents. It's how we pitch it to students. You're not in trouble in here writing packets, writing down the dictionary. It's a reflection of, okay, what did I do that got me in trouble for not showing self-control or being on task? How was I not showing achievement or respect? What are those things? And identifying what those were and what we could do differently next time.
I really like how you said it's a learning experience, because some people think of, almost think of it as detention, where you just sit there, you stare at the wall for 20, 30 minutes, but they're filling out packets and everything. Most students, how do they respond to that? I'm talking a majority of students get sent down there. Maybe they see you guys one or two times, but then they're done. How do they respond in those situations?
Typically, they respond pretty well. Obviously, they want to get out of there. They want to go have lunch with their friends. But we have a really high, success rate as far as we usually don't get kids more than once or twice, because they come in and they see, okay, you know what, there are consequences to me not showing respect to my teacher. And then they're filling out these questions, and these questions are kind of repetitive. What did I do to not show respect? How did my lack of respect affect my peers? What are some examples of things that are respectful? What are some things that are not? And so thinking these things through, I think, help them. And we call it SOAR Academy, and not
self-control, on-task achievement, respect,
and not SOAR detention or lunch detention. It's an academy of learning, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes. We've got a small percentage that are frequent flyers.
Yes.
And everywhere's going to have that.
Yeah.
But
our system's not perfect. Just be aware, it's not. I wish it was.
Yeah. But overall, it's been really successful, and getting those kids back in the classroom is just identifying the problem and finding alternatives. I think kids realize that teachers are a lot more relaxed than some teachers obviously, but if you're feeling overstimulated, if you go to your teacher and be like, hey, I just need a minute. Can I have a minute? Most teachers are going to be understanding. And I think kids realize that and find that there are other ways to navigate that.
Besides expectations, how could they work with that student? What do you think would be a good strategy for them?
The first thing, and this is what was made clear to me when we started this program, and I'll carry forward continually, is I'm a mentor to these kids. That's how we pitch it. I come in, and my first thing is I need to build a relationship with them and say, hey, you know what? I know what you've done isn't right, and you know that too, but I'm here to help you. I can be someone that can help you to channel feelings and channel, whatever issues you have going on. And just show them that you're on their side. Kids, and I myself included, when I was in school, like, sometimes you feel like the teacher's out to get you. And
You weren't a perfect kid in school?
no,
either?
I was a SOAR Academy kid. If we had SOAR Academy, I would have been in there. Not a frequent flyer, I hope not.
But a few times I was going to say, I spent a few days out in the hall for a few classes too, so I get it.
Your teachers aren't perfect.
No.
And that they're in your corner. They don't want to send you in the hall. They don't want to send you to lunchtime, lunch detention. They want to help you, and if we can find a way to help you, that makes the difference.
So for those teachers, you kind of get to know them, really trying to dive into the problem.
Yeah, and let them know you're on their side too. It's not.
I remember one of my schools I was at, my principal taught me this. He said, so we didn't have any program like that. It was just teachers, you figure it out, or you send them to admin. I hated sending kids to admin. I'm like, no, they're my student. I'm going to figure this out. So this student, I bet, so he did something in class. I don't remember what it was. Something that was like, okay, it's bad enough. You got to go out in the hall. I went and checked with him. I was like, hey, what's going on, bud? Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'll come back in and check in a minute. I checked every 5 minutes. He spent that entire day and the next day, and finally the third day, we got to the root of the problem. Now, this probably goes against most textbooks, but guess what? After that point in time, I had a great relationship. So that's something that I learned. I'm like, hey, you got to stay consistent. Would you say that sometimes kids get sent there and the expectations aren't consistent with that teacher? That some people are like, oh, that's fine. Then someone's like, get over there. Walk me through. How do you deal with those students? How could a teacher handle that better?
I mean, we get it a lot, right? Like, oh, all I did was this. This is all that happened.
And I mean, once you get the true story of what really happened,
Right.
You're going from there. Yeah.
Right. But then just breaking it down and being like, you might not agree with what happened, but it happened, and you're here. So that's how I deal with the student, and be like, that's the expectation for your teacher. I'm sorry that you might not agree, but and then those teachers that are kind of the habitual, like, oh, just go down. Like, sorry,
You're good.
sorry. You're a, what's the word?
A common name in the school, maybe?
Yeah, a common name in the school. Just give them a chance. Like, to teachers, like, not, I don't know. I always think about, like, when I run into kids at, like, Walmart, or I run into them outside of school, like, they're just kids. And remembering that, like, they're someone's son or daughter, and as frustrating as they are for you, that they're their parents' whole world. That's what kind of gets me a little bit, where I start to think, okay, I have to take a step back and be like, hey, how can I help this kid? It is a student. It's not fair to just view them as the kid you're supposed to teach. Like, You need to view them as, not obviously not as their parents view them. That's a little weird. But, like,
I think your word mentor really summed that up earlier. Like, you're their mentor. They're in your life for a reason right now.
yeah.
So as you're saying that, I thought of that kind of same thing where I'm like, it is somebody else's kid, and guess what? We can help them. We just got to be on their side. What about, how would you feel if a teacher's like, no, they were bad in my class for 2 or 3 days, they're done for a week? If a teacher has that mindset, what would you say to change it? So a kid's been bad in class for 3 days in a row, and they're like, he can't be back in my class for a week. What would you go and talk to that teacher about?
The first thing I do, and I don't know if it would even be my place, right? But
It's all right. We like to help teachers out here, so again, this is a safe place.
finding out, like, have you clarified your expectations? Have you, I mean, that's what our first step of intervention is in our school, is you should we use the big 5 of classroom management. And are you doing that? Like, if this is becoming such a problem with this kid, are you consistently following that and reevaluating and checking in, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So you're saying that don't just change the schedule automatically, have the teacher work through it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when I hear teachers like, oh, I just can't handle this kid, I'm going to get him out of my class. I'm like, come on, they're there for a reason. Maybe it's because they need you in their life, right? Could be anything. All right. Least favorite part about teaching? Well, he thinks I'll go through mine. Mine is, I was going to say, That's a tough one. I would say mine is the repeated questions that they already know the answer to. I call those, I was doing a research thing, and we call those proximity questions. So if I'm clear over there, no question. Soon as I walk by the student, hey, is this correct? I'd say the proximity questions are my biggest one. Now, I'm not saying that they're not always useful, but when it's the same kid 6 or 7 times in a class, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go change my pattern, maybe avoid you for a little bit and see how you do. Have you thought of anything yet? You can't say Crocs, by the way.
No, it would be Crocs, though. No, I think I have a really hard time, and maybe I'm in the wrong profession for this, but is the constant whining. Kids don't want to do anything, right? Like, I've got a fun game I play with my kids for workout. It's called Sharks and Minnows. You might have heard it, right? It's tag in the gym. You have 3 sharks trying to tag the rest of the class, and I've got kids asking to play that all week. Sharks and Minnows, let's play Sharks and Minnows. I put Sharks and Minnows for our workout on Friday, and half the class was like, Sharks and Minnows again. I don't like, I'm a people pleaser, and I like to make people happy, and I feel like that's really hard to do as a teacher, because they're really, they'll let you know.
Yeah, they're underdeveloped brains. They are going to say some wild stuff.
Yeah, and they're just never happy. And just, you'll have a really good day where everything's awesome. The kids are having a great time, and then the next day you turn around and it's like you're asking them to give you their kidney.
Yeah, or climbing Everest. Like, we're going to go climb Everest today, kids, instead of, right now you guys are doing your spike ball and softball unit, right? We're going to go climb Everest instead of playing softball. Like, come on. How nice do you guys really have it? You get to get up, get moving.
Right.
All right, now, when you become famous, not if, but when you become famous, first, what's your favorite restaurant to eat at? Restaurant, not fast food.
Oh.
Can't throw out the Utah answer of Chick-fil-A, sorry. Or do you have a favorite soda place? Soda place, they're huge here.
I'm right now I'm a big Chili's guy.
I'm with you on that
Triple
one.
Dipper.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor, but
hey,
Chili's, hey.
Also Expo. Just pick me up. All right. So you're at Chili's, and I'm sitting down for dinner with my family, and I go, I want the Nick MacArthur. What is that drink?
Gave this a lot of thought, because I'm a sucker for really good lemonade, but I have a hard time turning down a Diet Coke with peach and vanilla in it. So it'd probably be a Diet Coke with peach and vanilla in it, and
maybe a splash of lemonade. Just
maybe a little lemonade.
Your taste buds off a little bit.
Maybe a little lemonade.
Okay. All right, for the last one, our last question for today, you've been awesome. Probably my longest interview yet. Maybe it's the microphones. We feel really professional.
Yeah, no.
Shout out to good old Facebook Marketplace. That's where these came from.
Nice.
One thing in education you would change, what would it be? Can't be mind control, and it can't be the students, but something in education that you would change. What do you think it would be?
I would. There's 2 things I think I would change.
Hit them both.
One, and I think it's kind of a cliche answer amongst teachers. You need to get rid of cell phones.
Okay.
And I know that's not like an institution type deal, but like.
He's going to bring out with some of those Call of Duty things where it just kills all electronics.
Yeah.
I see what he's going for.
Like, they are such a problem in the classroom, and in the hall, right? My kids, they don't have pockets by design in their uniforms. Another plug for no uniforms. They don't have pockets, so they can't have their phones. But it's a distraction all the time. Whether my kids are leaving class to go to their locker to check their phone, or there's kids in the hallway on their phones distracting my kids. My TAs on their phones distracting my kids. It's just a big problem. And I hope one day we get there where we can get rid of them in our schools.
Now, on that, I'm going to jump in and ask a secondary question. So maybe it's going to be more than one. So our school, I see the things that say, like, no cell phones in the locker room, right? Now, when I was going to school, that wasn't a rule because cell phones were fairly new. But also, at the same time, it's where all the cool fights happen that you got to record. So how do parents, students respond to the no cell phones in the locker room?
So we have a no tolerance policy. Even if you come walking out and it's in your hand, I'll take it away. Parents are very supportive. I don't think kids really understand. We try to make it really clear as to why we don't want cameras in a place where people are changing, and where people are vulnerable. Parents are very supportive of it. I know our admin's very supportive of it. Kids maybe don't understand quite as much, and we do have to kind of break down, like, hey, listen, like, people can record you changing. They can take pictures of you changing. And I think that kind of helps a little bit. But I mean, even now, I mean, I've probably taken away 50 phones this school year just from in our locker room, and kids still fight me on. Well, I didn't know. There's a huge sign above the locker room.
Yes, it's not a small sign.
It's huge, and it's on their syllabus that you sign at the beginning of the trimester. They probably don't read it, but like we make it super clear, and it may not get through. But students don't respond well, but parents do. So
Okay, so you have support from parents there. That's good.
yeah.
All right, did you have the other thing you wanted to change in education? First one was cell phones. Did you have a second one?
This
Overachievers.
might just be me. Well, not just me. I know it's a problem, but like we need to teach relevant information. Like I remember, like specifically, like my financial literacy class in high school. Like I didn't learn anything, and then I graduate and they throw me out into the world, and I need to figure out what an interest rate is, how to calculate an interest rate. I didn't learn how to fill out a check. My landlord is super old school. I still have to write a check.
Yeah.
And I have a picture saved on my phone of a check of what it should look like.
That's our daycare every month.
Right? Like, I don't know, like life skills that are applicable right after high school. I don't feel like we hit on those enough. We spend too much time in the weeds, I guess.
Okay. So what would you give a teacher who's just starting? How would you tell them to kind of keep it more relevant? What do you think you would tell them? Have them go math teacher. How would you say, hey, make your information more relevant? You're talking like to Walmart, I'm going to go buy 87 watermelons, right? We've all seen those funny pictures. So what would you tell them? How would you say, hey, you know what? I got a suggestion for you. What would your conversation look like?
I would say to find things that are relevant to the students. Things are not always going to be the same. Like if you have a kid who's really into Fortnite, yeah, relate it to, how, you lose this much HP, how many chug jugs do you need to...
Oh, he's a pro over here.
I work with these kids.
He's got the Shohei Ohtani skin.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Shout out Dodgers, you can also sponsor. That'd be sick.
But like finding like little things to connect it to, like your kids right now. Like if your kid's into hunting and fishing, you can find a way to make that work.
Two of our students that are still at our school, I've never made a better connection with them than saying, oh, hey, we're going to combine like terms. 2X stands for 2 mallards. 2Y stands for 2 hens. How many ducks do you have? 4? Okay, so I can just shoot whatever I want to get to my limit. And they're like, no, you go. And I'm like, yes.
Right. And so that makes it more relevant.
But I've got 150 students. How do I do it? I'll jump in, maybe throw you a lifeline. Not every student needs the exact relevance because they're going to do what they could. But the students who struggle, those are the ones you're like, I'm going to go out of my way to figure out not only something about you, but how I can relate it to my curriculum.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, anything else you want to share before we wrap this up? You have been, again, fantastic. Longest guest to date, 2 episodes. It's been awesome.
No, I love teaching. I know that I'm in the right profession for me, but I'm still learning. I mean, I went to why am I blanking on the word?
Conference?
Yes, a conference, right? A conference a couple months ago, and I came away with a lot, but it was kind of in the middle of 3rd trimester, so it wasn't enough to apply right now.
Kind of hard to keep going, but maybe you have your notes for next time.
Right, but like I'm ready for next year. I've got stuff already in the works that I'm like, hey, you know what? These are my golden tickets. These are the things that I'm going to roll with, and just see if they work. If they don't work, whatever.
Oh, darn, we have a failure. Time to adjust.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. So at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's about recognizing who you are in the classroom and how you're shaping those people sitting in front of you. It's about being a mentor. So I want to say thanks for so much for hanging out, and a big thank you to Nick. If you nodded your head, rolled your eyes, or even yelled, that's me at the car stereo, I want to hear from you. Come join the conversation on social media. Find me anywhere at Breaking the Syllabus. I know Nick just subscribed to a few things. Or, hey, don't be afraid to shoot me an email about, what do you think I should talk about next in education? At breakingthesyllabus@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, follow, and share this episode with a friend, teacher, or somebody who just needs to hear it.